have a real presence in California. I think it's good that you're up there speaking. The protesters are going to come. I wouldn't worry about that. You get a lot of respect, Congressman, because you put yourself out there day in and day out in your district, and other congressmen and women should not be shrinking from doing town hall events. No way. Go out and preach the gospel of economic growth, and I think it's good for all people. By the way, speaking of immigration, Congressman, I got to ask you about this wild story from your home state. I think it was officials just arrested this guy, Omar Amin, who's a suspected ISIS member. He's accused of killing an Iraqi police officer in Sacramento, but he came to the United States as a refugee, and he was even able to apply for a green card. Isn't this exactly why the president wanted an aggressive travel ban and aggressive vetting? But of course, we've heard that this constant refrain of warning from the left.
But we still know the root of this poisonous tree was his attempt to ban Muslims. And remember, this is actually not going to make us safer.
They're all Muslim countries, and they're majority, and they are banned because of that.
It serves no purpose, and in fact, I would argue it's entirely negative in terms of national security. It potentially could cut off areas of intelligence that can help us protect ourselves from violent extremism.
Congressman, what can you tell us about this case? Because I know our viewers are very concerned about this.
They should be very concerned. But contrast this. Here I am yesterday giving a speech supporting the president and our ability to protect this border. They're protesting me there. And the federal government is arresting Omar Amin, who came to this country, was a member of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He got approval to come to America, but he didn't come directly here. He first then went to Iraq, killed the police officer, and 3 months later comes to America. And why does he come to California? Because they said and advertised that they want to be a sanctuary state. He's sitting in Sacramento. The feds are able to arrest him. The FBI has been looking at him since, I think, 2016. This is why the president is correct. He was sitting there. You should vet these people. He said, no, he was just a refugee. That's why he was in Turkey.
Well,
he's a part
Congressman,
of ISIS.
Yeah, Congressman, but he came in under Obama.
Exactly.
And has anyone followed up with the former President Obama and said, does this give you pause about the type of refugee program we had in place? I mean, this is one example. All it takes is one person, Congressman, who has a connection or a part of a network that's overseas, one person to carry out horrific carnage in this country. That's all it takes.
And how much information did he pass back while he was sitting in America? And the most damaging part is he got approved to come to America, but before he even came to America, he went and killed the officer in Iraq, and then he came into America.
It's a scandal.
Under the Obama administration.
And of course, nobody, the regular media, it's like a blip, and then it's back to Omarosa. Congressman, thanks for the update on all of this. We really appreciate it. And stay out there speaking about the economy. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Dog thing, that goes back to a long history of authoritarian leaders using animalistic slurs to try to dehumanize people or groups of people.
The idea of dehumanizing your opponent, whether it's a political opponent or someone you disagree with, is rooted in very ugly history. And he does that as a cattle call, right, to his base, and to say, hey, look what I'm doing. I think these people are less than. I'm dehumanizing them.
The media are in a tizzy over President Trump's so-called dehumanizing comments about Omarosa. But apparently it's crickets when influential Democrats like the Clintons make outrageously dehumanizing remarks. Take a listen to Chelsea Clinton supporting abortion on demand.
It is not a disconnected fact that American women entering the labor force from 1970 to 2009 added $3.5 trillion to our economy.
One of them.
Right? Like the net new entrance of women. That is not disconnected from the fact that Roe became the law of the land in January of 1973.
Wow, 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 wow. Joining us now with reaction, Fox News contributor Rachel Campos Duffy, along with Ellen Ratner, bureau chief for Talk Media News. Let's start with you, Ellen. When I hear Chelsea Clinton speak about all the money that the economy has gotten because of, I guess, total of more than 44 million abortions in the United States, which is a staggering figure since 1973 in Roe, that would improve the economy. And to that I say, to monetize life, to me, is pretty dehumanizing to a lot of Americans. And how much would 44 million Americans, how much would they have added to the U.S. economy, let alone inventions they might have invented or breakthroughs in medicine they might have. I mean, every child gone is a loss. But for Chelsea, it's a gain. So who's dehumanizing whom here?
Well, listen, I don't think it's right to dehumanize anybody. However, I have to say that choice is choice, and women have a choice in this country. That was what Roe versus Wade was about.
Well,
and
I think that's but fine. We're talking about her comments about how it adds to the economy.
Well,
monetizing a human being. You know what else was good for the economy? You know what the slave owners said? Slavery was good for the economy.
Well, okay.
But we thought that dehumanized people, didn't we? We all loved that.
It did dehumanize people, but I have to say this, that why aren't men taking care of kids? If we had more equality, perhaps, as you would like, there would be less abortions, but there isn't equality in this country.
Rachel Campos Duffy, Chelsea Clinton is, pretty popular. She has a pretty high profile. And it's no secret that she's, pro-choice.
Of course.
But I don't know, coming off the Omarosa thing, I don't like anyone being called a dog. I don't think the president should have gone there. I mean, he calls everybody dog. And that's kind of his lingo, New York lingo. But I don't know, when I heard that, it's like, wow, that's what we're using now to justify 44 million abortions? I thought they were supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. 44 million rare?
No, absolutely not. And first of all, I'm really enjoying this moment of transparency in the Democrat Party. They're openly embracing socialism. They're telling the truth about abortion. Remember, they said, abortion is just health care, which is their favorite euphemism for it. We now see the truth. It is about power. It is about profits. That's what abortion is about. And you made a really great point, by the way, in the very beginning, Laura, when you talk about the number of women who are no longer who are prevented by entering the workforce because of Roe versus Wade. Those are 20-some million women, by the way, mostly minorities, who are no longer in the workforce, who are not contributing to our country, aren't paying taxes, aren't paying towards Social Security, aren't inventing the cure to cancer, aren't running for president. So again, I actually appreciate her honesty and transparency about what abortion really is about. It's about a person.
Since when is abortion about profits? I mean, I've never heard of anything.
The sale of baby body parts? Please, give me a break. We have lots of evidence on that. There were actually congressional hearings about the profit being made, not just on the abortion itself, but on the products of the abortion, on the human
most of Planned Parenthood's revenue comes from either $500 million from the government, and that's for health care, even though they don't do ultrasounds, and they do other things.
They do a lot of health care.
They don't do ultrasounds, which a lot of people think, because heaven forbid you actually see what's in your womb. But it's about $500 an abortion on average, and so about half of their $1 billion budget comes from the procedure.
Planned Parenthood does separate health care for women, and you cannot dispute that.
Well, there are a lot of community health care clinics across the country that do not do abortions. They do a great job, but yeah, they do. They make their money though, not from giving out the pill. They make their money, Ellen, you wouldn't disagree with that, right? They make their money from the abortion procedure. That's where the cash comes in.
But if they actually run separate health care clinics for women, and you can't dispute that.
Right, but that's where the $500 million from the government. The government had given them $500 million for years and years and years. That is supposed to go to the health care, which infuriates people because it's all fungible money. So they get $500 million from the government. They get 320,000 abortions committed at Planned Parenthood clinics across the country. You do the math.
The U.S. government made a very strict line between abortion and health care, and that was done a long time ago.
Final from Rachel, real quick.
I would just say what she did was she put a value, whether it was GDP or the profits made at Planned Parenthood, on the value of a human life. She put profits over people.
Monetizing life. Guys,
perfectly Clintonian ethics. The apple doesn't fall
love
far
having
from the
you
tree.
both on. We're out of time. Love